Here with Miami head coach Chris Bergeron as the Redhawks get set to start the second half of the season after the holidays, playing at Niagara this weekend. And Coach, first off, happy holidays to you. How was the break, and how is it kind of trying to get everybody back on the same page and get back into the playing mode and getting ready for the second half of the season?
Well, I appreciate that. Happy holidays to you and everybody listening. A little bit different this year, Wads, in that, we reported back on the 26th and we turn around and travel on the 28th. I mean, that's the reality of it. So it's a pretty condensed preparation time over the last couple of days. Yesterday, we've got, I don't know the number, 6 or 8 kids from Europe that are fighting jet lag and those kind of things right now. And so that's another thing we just have to keep in mind. But yesterday we skated. Today was a good practice. We'll practice tomorrow and then get on the bus, heading to Buffalo. So it's a little different for sure, but no excuses. I mean, our mindset as coaches is let's, throw a bunch at them in terms of the X's and O's and reminders. Okay. And we can drill down on our game next week as we prepare for the stretch run and NCHC play, because we do have time. So there's been a lot of our game stuff back in game mode, whether it be 5-on-5, 4-on-5, 5-on-4, and we threw a lot at them. And I think they've done a good job to this point of getting back into it, because there is a wide range of what they have available in terms of ice back home. And that's really only, individual ice. It's not even, there's no game situations going on. So to get them back in game mindset, I think is a big key for us.
I didn't get a chance to talk to you after the Duluth game, the Saturday night game, and you looked like you had the game tying goal in the third period, and then a long delay. It took 5 minutes or so to make a decision that they overturn a goal and take it off of the board. And not to dwell on that, but what was the mindset for your guys going into the break? That was kind of a tough way to have that emotion so high and then have it kind of ripped away and not get the win.
I mean, I think you'd have to ask them what their mindset was. It was a frustrating way to end the first half for me, but I think from a league game perspective, it's been a frustrating first half / disappointing. I don't think we've played well enough of the time, and especially the winning hockey mentality. We just haven't done that enough of the time. And I look at that series, Wads, and we went offside on Friday night in overtime. 3-on-2. It's only 3-on-3, and we go offside in 3-on-2 in overtime. That cost us an opportunity as a potential goal. Obviously, what happened on Saturday cost us a goal. Those are just, they're quick snapshots. They're both the same play. I'm not saying we go offside too much. What I'm saying is the discipline and the winning hockey mentality has to change for our group. And I'm not talking about physically discipline, taking too many penalties. I'm talking about just with our play, with our game plan. We have to change. There's neither, that play on Saturday had nothing to do with the play, but yet we went offside anyway. So it was just, to me, a snapshot. This weekend, or that weekend, it was an offside thing. Weekends before, it was a miss the net. It was a misassignment. We feel we've played better hockey than our record indicates, especially in the league. But that's no. That doesn't make me feel any better. It doesn't make us feel any better. The reality is our record is what it is, and I think that last weekend was a disappointing / frustrating weekend for us. And we know that frustration is just a waste of energy, but it's still those are the facts. And I do think 2 weeks off gave us a chance to all reset mentally and hopefully get ready here for the second half.
With those 2 weeks off, Coach, you get a chance to get healthy too. Guys that were banged up, you battled some injury bugs throughout the first half of the season. What does that mean moving forward as far as getting guys healthy, getting them ready to go here in the second half?
Well, yeah, I mean, Drew, unfortunately, it hasn't meant a whole lot just yet. I mean, Nielsen is somebody that has been hurt all year, and we really have to be careful with that. That was surgically repaired, a lower body injury, and he's skating and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're 2 weeks helps, and the next, 10 days after this weekend will help him. Frankie, unfortunately, has just been I think a very difficult injury with his back for everybody, and there's really no light at the end of the tunnel there, and I think everybody else, I think you mentioned, was banged up a little bit. Ryan Sullivan, I think it was good to get him healthy, and we need him in our lineup, and at that time of the year, that middle of December time, everybody's got some bumps and bruises, so I'm sure those couple of weeks help, but we're not necessarily adding anybody to our lineup this weekend that wasn't in our lineup the last weekend, or at least available to us. We'll have some decisions to make in both forward and D, but we still have some time to get those two forwards healthy.
Sure. Looking ahead at the matchup with Niagara this weekend, it's a team that you saw last year on the home ice, and now heading up to Buffalo to go see them. What do you expect from that team? It's kind of a similar record as far as going into the second half of the season goes, but what do you expect as far as style from them?
They're a team that really pushes the pace. They want to smother you in their defensive zone, and then they want to flip pucks to the neutral zone and get going the other way. What I remember from the series is they were that not necessarily a counterpunching team, but a team that's going to come at you. They've got some really good players, some good forwards. It's a different team this year, but I think their style is something that they want to play the same way they played, when we played them here last year. So I think right now, Drew, it's getting us back into game mentality, and the focus is going to be on us. But we've got a very, very difficult opponent with not much time to prepare. Now, they don't have time either, but that's where we are, and we have to be ready to go both mentally and physically, at least the best we can with only a couple of days to prepare for them.
Coach, a little bit kind of somewhat ice related, but not necessarily X's and O's related, but a guy that you've been around for a very, very long time. We're going to be celebrating his 1000th official game on the road this weekend at Niagara. That would be your longtime equipment manager, Andy Geshin. Maybe just a couple thoughts about Andy Geshin, your first time through, and then back here as the head coach.
Well, when I think about Miami hockey, I think Andy Geshin's somebody that comes to my mind, and I think Barry Schutte had Andy during his time as a player. That tells you how far back Gesh goes as part of this program. It seemed like, Wads, as a head coach, I'm too stressed out all the time, so I don't get to spend as much time with him as I felt like I did when I was an assistant. When I was an assistant, I felt like all the stress was on Rico, and I was just looking for people to talk to and hang out with. So, and Gesh was one of those guys. The other thing with Gesh and Carmen, Wads, is that we watched their family grow up, basically, and he watched ours. Patrick and Parker were born when we were, I believe, when I was here before. And now to see them, I mean, Parker is 6'4", 6'3" or something. So to see him and Patrick growing up at this point. So it's not just that relationship with Andy around the rink. It's been watching our families grow up together. And so that's something that's pretty special. And you include the Blasies in that, you include the Blashels in that, and Breckies and so on. I mean, there's a lot of people that have come through this program that Andy has been part of as far as relationships go. 1,000 games, man, it's a pretty special accomplishment. The consistency, those kind of things. But I wanted to make sure that, people realize too that, he's got a wife and kids and people that we've been in relationships with for a long time. So proud of him. But that's what comes to mind for me when I think about Miami hockey. Definitely think about Andy Geshin, and all the players will ask, "How's Gesh doing? Is he still Gesh?" Yes, no, he's not. Absolutely. Whether it's Pat Cannoni, Ryan Jones, Andy Green, Zarnik, Barber, you name it, Riley Smith will all ask about Gesh. So pretty special time, and we'll do our best to celebrate him and make sure he knows that we're thinking about him.
Here with the Red Hawks senior defenseman Dylan Moulton as the Red Hawks get set for a weekend series at Niagara. And let's get a chance to talk with Dylan. Hey, Dylan, first off, welcome back, I guess. You had a little bit of time off. How good was it to just get away for a little bit and kind of recharge the batteries before you get ready for the second half of the season?
It's always nice, especially because we get here a little bit earlier than normal students, in August, and we don't get to go home until when we did. So it's always nice to just recharge. It's good for the guys that are hurt too to get some extra time, get healthy, and get ready to go back at it here.
Let's talk a little bit about the first half of the season. So I'm sure you guys would like the record to be a little bit better, but there were so many games where off to a good start at the beginning, and then you had some games that were really, really close that could have gone either way. So how do you kind of keep that mentality of so close and just trying to finish it and get to that point where maybe the record is a little bit different than what it is right now?
I think it's just, learning how to win and finish off games as good teams do. Because like you said, I think we've had great starts to games for the better part of the whole first half. So it's really not changing much on that side of things, but it's when we get those good starts and we jump on teams, almost staying on them, and keeping our foot on the pedal instead of, letting off a little bit, and just making sure that we continue to, almost step on their throats and finish the game.
Drew?
Dylan, playing off of that a little bit, and yeah, Dylan, expanding on that a little bit, how important is it? First half of the season, you've had experiences with the extra attacker on the ice. You've been able to have experiences on the in the shootout and in overtime. So how important is it to gain that real game experience in order to push forward in the next half of the season?
It's definitely important, especially, after this weekend, it's going to be the NCHE stretch to finish, and all those games are going to matter. And, those overtime games and shootout matter when they're in conference for points and everything. So, yeah, it's good that we've gotten the experience with it. And I think we did a lot of good things, and during the first half, but it's staying consistent with those good things and putting 60 minutes together.
You mentioned getting guys healthy with the break. What is that going to mean, the sort of the influx of guys who have been hurt, to get them back out there on the ice?
Well, it's good. For one, we've been missing Sullivan. I know he came back with Duluth, but it gave him more time to heal up a little bit. Gave Benner some time, and like those are some older guys that have games played in college hockey experience, and it helps to have those guys on the bench and that experience as they go through the game. And then like it can help with the finishing off games because they've been there, especially Sullivan. He's won a national championship, so he knows what it takes.
Hey, as far as getting ready for Niagara now, you guys just got back into town, the day after Christmas, so not a lot of time to kind of prepare for it. So how do you kind of get your mind set in knowing what you're going to get from playing a team like Niagara?
Yeah, this one's definitely a little different than I'm used to since I've been here because I think we've played at home after Christmas. So it's been, the Burge used the term shotgun start. So we really, we hopped on the ice last night and he really got us going again mentally and physically. And, we watched some video today on them to get our minds right. But yeah, it's definitely a quick turnaround and it's just, fast-paced practice to get ourselves back into it.
Also, want to ask you real quick. We don't get a chance to kind of talk about individual play for you. Growing up in Tennessee, outside of the Preds down there, what kind of how was your background getting into hockey in a place like Tennessee that is probably a little bit more football or basketball oriented?
Yeah, it was my dad. My dad ended up playing pro. So I guess, and when I moved to Nashville because he had retired and then just started working for the Preds. So I was going to Preds games since I was a little kid. So I just grew up around the game and then it kind of stuck. But yeah, it definitely wasn't popular down there when I was growing up. Preds have helped that.
I'm sure
Let me
you're getting a lot of fans though. Oh, go ahead, Drew.
Yeah.
let me jump in there then. Was Ryan Jones playing then when you were for the Preds uh when you were growing up?
Yeah,
You recall?
he definitely had to have been. I don't think I was paying attention as much then, but they have all the players out here in the hallway and when they played and he's got Pred stuff on in his picture. So he had to have been there when I was going to games and stuff.
Do you talk with Keeper Sherwood now, or he's having a nice little run down there?
Yeah, no, I don't talk to him, but I have seen that. Yeah, he's definitely a Miami alum that's down there. I've seen he's doing pretty well too.